Hey guys, F1 Fanatic here. Today I'm going to give you the next video in this time trial series. Today I'm going to talk about times. What laps can I clock generally in any type of car? Not sure. I don't know. Could go Korea. I don't know. Yeah. Brazil. Malaysia, Australia. Always a challenge trying to find what track to race at. But, Silverstone, Nürburgring. I don't know. We'll go Monza. Anyway. Today I'll be talking about the time trials, or the time laps, the laps that I can clock. Whereas in the last video I talked about my handling, some of my setups that I have when I drive. And now today I'll discuss about the lap times. So without further ado, when this gets done, I'll see you back. Alright, now we're in beautiful Italy. Wonderful Monza. Yeah, but today we'll discuss lap times and basically what can I do to, as laps? What can I clock for laps? So, like I said in the last video, as usual with time trials, I don't go very complex, just do a very basic setup. But without further ado, we'll start the time trial. So, well, basically, with my times that I clock, my pace, I notice a lot, is very, I guess in ways I could say, inhumane and insane. Sometimes I even amaze myself at the laps that I can clock. Most of the time, there's usually a gradual trend that happens with most racers where, their fastest times maybe... they generate a sort of peak time. Like, they'll be building up to it. They build up the speed the first couple of laps. By, probably the 4th or 5th lap, it's probably their peak performance. Then there's probably there's a steep decline after that. Well, for me, it seemingly is just unpredictable. I mean, I could clock my fastest lap on the 2nd lap as opposed to the 4th or 5th. Or I could even score my fastest lap on the 15th lap instead of 6th. It's very sporadic. And I think most of the time, even I notice if I make little screw-ups in between, I tend to actually push harder once I screw up. I'll hit the barrier, or hit the corner, or hit a sandbar or something, and immediately I just jolt right out, and I tend to push myself faster than if I was just driving along without any mistakes. And, sometimes pushing harder can cause me to crash again and, basically drop the ball, but that happens probably 50% of the time. I mean, sometimes I can actually get a faster time out of it and make up for it, but other times I hit the barrier again, and then hit the barrier again, and then hit another sandbar, and basically it just trickles down from there. But, basically for my pace, as opposed to others, it's very different. And most of you YouTubers out there, I'm sure you could tell, have a certain, peak. You'll have, your peak performance probably around, the 4th or 5th lap in a time trial. And then after that, you'll keep pushing, but you'll start to decline in times. But for me, it's very different. I'm not going to say it's better, but it's very different compared to other racers out there. As opposed to having a gradual curve to it, it's very sporadic, where it's kind of up and down like a roller coaster ride kind of drive. When I get into a car, it's very sporadic as opposed to a constant curve. I mean, even when I drive, it's unpredictable to me. I mean, I could get my fastest lap on the 1st or 2nd lap, Or I could even get my fastest lap on the 6th lap. You know, even for me, it's unpredictable. You know, and like I said before, I'm not going to say that it's better than most people, because I can already say now, I'm probably not the best driver out there. You know, sometimes I like to think that, but I have to come to the realization that that's not true. You know, I'm sure there's better drivers out there, you know, but that's just basically how it happens for me, and it's mainly unpredictable. I mean, I could have horrible times. I mean, I could have the best times ever. I mean, I could have horrible times that I clock for each lap, you know? It's very different and very sporadic. But, yeah, and I think sometimes, even like I said before, when I hit the corner, you know, I push harder, and sometimes that can cause me to cause even more mistakes, but often than not, I tend to make up for that lap. You know? And even sometimes if there's corners that I can kind of cut through, I mean, not fully, but if I can get at least one tire on the corner, perhaps, you know, I will do that, you know? And I think it's any sort of like shortcuts I can take, like if I can get an extra tire onto a corner and kind of cut through it without being penalized, I'll absolutely take that shortcut. You know, I mean, it's wrong to do that, to kind of, I guess, challenge the system, so to speak, but if I can get away with it, I'll absolutely do it. I mean, that's kind of how I roll, or how I go about it. You know, like, if I can get around something, I'll definitely do it. But obviously, I won't go to the full extent of just blowing through certain chincades and stuff like that. I mean, obviously, that's cheating. But if I can get away with kind of putting a tire onto a corner, then I'll do it, you know? But that can also sometimes add into the laps that I clock in, too. That could sometimes predict it to be even faster, or sometimes even slower. I mean, kind of like right here, where I cut right across that shortcut, and even there, too. You know? If I'll do it, or if I can do it, I'll do it. But, I mean, obviously, if I'm going to get penalized for it, I won't do it again. But, you know, but mainly for lap times, as I'll say a third time, they're mainly sporadic, as opposed to most YouTubers out there who probably will have a kind of a curve. You know, like a certain peak point, and then it, you know, they'll build up in the first couple laps, then you hit the peak point, and then you'll start slowly decreasing time. Kind of like right here, I screw up a little bit, and I push harder. Like I said before, like I hit the sandbar right there, and I push further. But, back to what I was saying, you know, some people have that peak performance, and for me, that peak performance just seems to be unidentifiable, or, you know, sometimes it's very unpredictable. I mean, I could hit my peak performance on the first lap, or I could hit it on the 6th lap. You know, it's very different. It's just very, I don't know, it's very different, as opposed to many other racers out there on the YouTuber sphere thingy. God, I shouldn't be saying that. But anyway, yeah, so I think we're about to approach the last lap here. We're about to clock in and coast. But in the next video, and probably the final one for F1 2013, I'll talk about what I do in a typical lap. I'll basically comment on what I do in a typical lap. But this is F1 Fanatic signing out. Until next time, folks, see you in the next video. Goodbye.